It's interesting. In my life exploits, I'll come across the individual, and you know what they're about. I mean, it's kind of why I'm just explaining this. That in the face of what's obvious, and contrary to what your other friends say, but you invest so much into this one person, and their words have heavy weight with you, that you somehow or another start judging yourself based on what the one person is saying, to the extent where it's as if, the devil has taken them hostage because they're using them against me. And you have to be aware that the other person probably thinks that also. So then comes into play this, well, then what are you doing? Why are you pushing this? Why are you making it a big deal? And again, you're contradicting yourself. Why? Because I just told you. The devil's playing them against me and me against them. But you got to stay grounded in knowing what the truth is. And how do you know that? Familiarity, experience. See, familiarity breeds contempt, they say. Now, what does that mean? It means, with some people, absence makes the heart grow fonder. When they're gone, you miss them. But not always necessarily right away. Familiarity breeds contempt means, I know them too well, so I don't like anything they say to me. Everything they say to me sounds like they're criticizing me. Everything they say to me, it annoys me that they know everything about me. And I don't want to talk about those things. And the person's not even doing that. There's something else going on there. There's something else going on there. And how would you know that? Simple, off of experience. If that wasn't the case, they wouldn't want everyone to be forgetting about their past, which is really a ridiculous notion. It's extremely unhealthy. You're not going to find any psychologists out there to tell you that promoting of people preaching to other people who have been damaged to just forget about it. Just forget about it. It'll go away. That shit will come back up in you. I mean, if you're going to do that, it doesn't have anything to do with religions or God or anything. You better make amends first. It's way too self-righteous in the bad way to be like, well, if you cared, you would let me just forget about it and let it go. And I'm going to put that burden on you because, well, you're normal and you don't, shake it off that you don't just get rid of it and abandon it. It's not in your nature to abandon people. So it's ironic that in a way they're trying to destroy you, and in a way really what they're saying, kind of like in between their words, is you're the good guy. Why? Because you don't want to remember that. I'm saying that to you, aren't I? I'm saying you want to remember this. Why are you holding on? Let go, right? As if you have a choice. Because I'm not telling you that there is a connection, that there is a bond. I thought you were snooping on me. I thought you were a stalker. Now I realize there is something weird going on here. I just didn't want to accept it because you didn't fit the picture perfect poster child of what I imagined. Now I have to say that for you because you won't say it. And that's such a silly, stupid reason why this has to go on. Because you're not saying it's not my policy. It's simply natural human being cathartic and letting something out. Confession isn't just a Catholic thing. It's done because it's healthy, physically healthy. You can't keep that in forever. It will come out. Something is going to prod you to bring it out. Better me than them. So you would think, right? Or you don't think. But they don't know you. I do. You've seen the worst of me and the best of me. Okay, and the worst of me, was it really that bad in comparison to what is really out there? When I was a kid, people always say, do you think you had a past life? And I always said, no, I don't even know what that is and stuff like that. You mean like as in past life in this life? I have many past lives in this life. But I'm saying like a past life like where I was in another world or time and I actually lived there. It's fascinating that people say that because I hadn't really thought about that. But when I was a kid, lots of weird things happened that, looking back at it now, that was a big sign that maybe I wasn't meant to understand till later. I couldn't understand. But as a kid, I was 8 or 9, I was infatuated with World War II books. It never occurs to me now why that would be. Why would I take all these pictures out of my dad's books? It's not Winnie the Pooh. It's not cartoons and stuff like that. So there's these scenes, and I seem to know these scenes. And I was never that good in school. In the 7th grade, we had to write a book report. I wrote a book report on Cornelius Ryan's The Longest Day. It's like not even people in college can read that book. I don't even know how I read that book. And I knew it by heart. I didn't even have to reread it. And I wrote a book report on it. The teacher didn't believe me. This is the story of my life. Didn't believe me. Why? Because no adult reads that book. I didn't even read it again. I know I wrote the book report because I had read it. And I was like, you do The Longest Day? It's basically just a history book of the real events on D-Day in World War II. But how did I really know that? I mean, I read the book because I identified with the book. You're just a kid, dude. I know. How did I know all that? But the one that's crazy is Tarawa. And I'd written a poem once called Emotional Tarawa when I was really depressed. It actually got accepted as like one of those weird great poems of the year award things. And I wrote it when I was like smoking weed, depressed in a car, when my buddy was getting with one of my best girlfriends, which is another repeated thing. I mean, Tarawa was an island. It was just a small quarter-mile wide. But in World War II, we had to get that island if we were going to go to war with Japan after the invasion of or the attack on Pearl Harbor. It would have had an airstrip and this and that. Well, Americans got caught off guard. I mean, we lost something like 3,000, 4,000 men in 72 hours. The island was almost completely destroyed. Like it almost doesn't exist after this. And the Japanese were dug in so well that the leader said they could send 1 million Americans here, and they still could not take this island. Well, eventually we did take it, and that was the beginning of realizing, whoa, we're in for a big fight here. But it's like a Punic victory, they call it. What? Over a little desert island, that many men, that big of a historic event, one of the largest amphibious attacks ever. Why would they have to go through all that for that island? Because they had to get that island. Without that island, they wouldn't have any strategic benefit. So we're all, in a sense, very much like Tarawas. What are you fighting for? What's the big deal? They're not that important. Yes, it is. I'm not that important. Apparently you are.